Welcome back to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Maz.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
And it's still the middle of May.
Yeah.
How is that? I am both asking how it's possible that it is already the middle of May.
Right.
And also that it is still the middle of May.
Yeah.
How is such a thing possible?
Yeah, I feel that for sure. I'm the week before being on vacation. So this is the longest week of my life. It's like the longest Tuesday ever. So I'm right there with you. I'm like, I can't believe, yay, like my birthday's almost here and next week I'm off. But also, how are we still
For some reason, it feels like things are going slowly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird.
God, that was dumb.
I was supposed to say, I applaud you for keeping up with the bit that long. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm 100% there. It's just slow, but also, holy shit, May's almost over.
Right.
Like in no time it'll be done. Like next week will be whoosh, gone.
Yeah, because next week will go very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it'll come and go.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Memorial Day birthday this year.
Yeah, I'm so lucky.
How often does that happen?
It's been happening, it feels like a lot recently, so I guess it's lined up within the past couple of years. But yeah, this year I forgot that Labor Day was like right after my birthday.
No.
So I took this week off and then I'm off that following Monday too.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, like that wasn't even on purpose. I just lucked out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, happy Memorial Day to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's extra special.
Yeah. Well, I guess it would have happened 2 years in a row because this year's a leap year.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So
because all the dates should line up. I
think so. I don't know. I'm tired, dude.
Listen, if you know more about calendars than we do, that's weird. And don't contact us about it.
I was about to say, tell us all about it, but please don't.
No, actually don't.
I don't want to have that conversation.
So yeah, but otherwise work as author Maz Maddox is happening.
Yeah. So a lot of word count this past weekend. Shen's working on the cover. I've gotten to see the first draft of it, which it looks neat and spooky.
Yay, spooky.
And then the Relic short is coming to our Patreon on Friday. So yeah. So I feel very productive, even though I haven't released a book since September of last year.
Right.
So it's weird how that works out. So I feel like I'm busting ass, but really I have like nothing to show for it yet.
That is the strange phenomenon about, well, partially this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is it feels like we're doing so much work.
Yeah.
But it exists in its own little space on the internet.
Right.
It's not like available for, I mean, it is available for everyone.
Right.
If you would like to just go join our Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
More on that later.
Yeah, we'll revisit that topic.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like I've been working really hard, but I haven't. I was like, I still had my old Facebook banner that was like, Gardens and Ghosts releasing soon, September of 2023.
Oops.
I was like, God damn it. Like, I really got to stay on top of like swapping out my stuff.
Well.
So, yeah, so that kind of put it in perspective. I was like, why do I feel like I've been working so hard? And the last Amazon release I had was in September. So it was weird, just weird. But yeah. How was your weekend? We haven't had really a chance to talk because you've been so busy today.
Right. I so my week got off to an interesting start yesterday.
Okay.
Because, and this is my own fault, I take full responsibility. I opened up the manuscript for the book that I'm recording, one of the 2 books I'm working on this week.
Yeah.
And realized it is 25% longer than the other 5 books in the series.
Oh, shit. That's not good.
And like when I was hired to do it, they did not tell me that. Like all of the estimated run times were exactly the same, which means made up.
Right.
And so it's my own fault for not prepping earlier, but it's book 6 in the series.
Yeah.
It's going to be like everyone in it has been introduced in previous books. It's just these 2 are going to get together now. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I feel like that's
a pretty minimal amount of prep is required.
For
so
sure.
like you're just going to open it up on the morning you start and you're going to read through it real quick.
Mm-hmm. Done.
Make sure there's no like major issues, and then you're gonna, start recording.
Yeah, you know these guys. You've met.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a much longer book than the previous 5.
Yeah.
So I have. So it was like, great. I will be doing more of that this week, which is why I came in extra early today.
Yeah.
Because I knew we had this in the afternoon. So I was like, well, I better get in there by like 7 then, so that I can start recording early. And then also found out that I would have to take my dog to the vet today because he has a little bit of an issue with his eye. And so then it was even more like you walked in and I was basically like, hi, shut up. I'm going in the booth. Goodbye.
You were like, I'm going to be rude. We can't talk. We'll talk for the podcast.
Right.
So I was like, oh, do your thing.
I pulled a RuPaul.
Yeah.
I was like, save it for the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but otherwise, I mean, I'm just trying, again, I'm facing a deadline. We're now going to Phoenix for John's graduation.
Oh my God.
In a couple week and a half. Less than a week and a half at this point. Next week, Wednesday. Okay.
Oh my God. Did that just sneak up on you?
Say, if you weren't watching the YouTube channel, maybe it might be worth it to see that happen on my face. Because yes, next week, Wednesday, we leave for Arizona. God. So it's one of those things where it's like, once again, I'm staring down the barrel of a vacation and realizing I have so much to get done.
Yeah.
And it just all has to get done.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Oof.
Before I leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just in that mode, and we're going to be in that mode all fucking summer because we're taking so many goddamn vacations. And cool. Yeah. That's fun. It's going to be great.
For sure.
When you are a freelancer, vacations hit different.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's just time you're not getting paid for anything.
Yeah.
And paying for a lot of things.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I just bought a plane ticket because I last minute am taking a trip to Texas to see family at the end of June.
That's
so
good.
I waited one day too long to buy a ticket because I'm so mad at myself because I was looking at it last night, finally figured out how I was going to make it work. And I was like, okay, rock on, get them in the morning. Opened it today and it's like $90 more than it was last night.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh God. I mean, it's not
$90.
It's not bad.
Much
worse. For sure. Sometimes it could have been real bad.
Rates double overnight. So
yeah. So it didn't go that bad, but it was cheaper yesterday. And I was like, had I just got off the couch and grabbed my wallet and just bit the bullet, but I had to think about it and be like, well, I don't want to leave on Wednesday. And then I just shot myself in the foot.
Right.
So yeah, now I'm super broke because that was more than I thought it was.
Yeah.
So I feel you.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I've just got a lot of stuff to get done, but I'm finishing a series. I'm continuing a series.
Yeah.
I'm starting a new series. I have another serial to record before next Tuesday, and all of that is happening before I leave next Wednesday.
Wow.
Co-narrations really make it seem like you're doing a lot more than you are because it's like I'm only doing half of 2 of those books, but
that's still a lot of work. That's so much. So you can do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit to get done.
Yeah.
Also, like spring has sprung, so like outdoor stuff is happening. We have to like work on our yard, and we put out all our mulch last weekend. We're gonna put out all the patio furniture this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, fun things like that.
Yeah, fun and kind of exhausting
to happen as well.
Right.
In the midst of all of this work and planning and travel and it's a really busy summer for Kirt.
Yes, it sounds like
and
it.
I know I've said that before. I will say it again.
Hey, this is our podcast. You can say it as many times as you want.
Yeah, I'm in the midst of a busy summer.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about?
I don't know. We're just what we've been up to because this is us catching up after a full day of not talking. So.
That's right. Also, my dog is fine for those who are concerned that I had to take him to the vet.
I got to see him today.
Yes, and then we stopped by the office so Bodhi could say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when he was so little.
I know.
He was like, I remember when this office was organized different. I was like sitting right behind you and he was a puppy and I held him while he slept and I worked and it was just like now it's in my brain that he should just be this
He should
big.
be tiny.
Yeah.
So every time be tiny. I don't know why he decided to get so big.
They always do that. It was so rude.
It's really, it was, that was a choice that he decided to just be not a terrier like we were told he was and instead be a bulldog.
Yeah, exactly. He's huge.
Golly, he is so big. Yeah. And he stood on the scale today at the vet's office and it's like 64 pounds. 64 pounds?
He doesn't seem like he's 64. That's
he's
crazy.
So solid.
Yeah.
And if you pick him up, you feel it. You're like, oh God. And if he's like being stubborn and doesn't want to go where you're going and you have him on a leash, you know it. You know how solid he is.
That's fair.
He is fucking strong. He is stronger than me.
I believe it.
Like,
yeah.
And he's lower to the ground. So he can fully resist me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dog Cassie was 40 pounds and I struggled with her. So, and she wasn't nearly as just like as Bodhi. He's like cement.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of things that I've been working on, the latest episode of Only Skin Deep came out on Tuesday.
Yes.
Episode 3.
4, 3.
3.
Yes.
Came out.
3.
4 is next.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and this last chapter too is like not, well, you know, the second chapter was definitely spicy. But this one's like, I like that leading up because we've talked about it before. It's a throuple. So this third guy is still resisting and I'm like, give into it, man. Yeah. But yeah, this is him.
Not yet.
Yes, not yet. So it's fun. That tension's there. So yeah, this is a fun thing to proof. I got to listen to it yesterday and it's delicious.
It's delicious. Yes. It's actually, it's been kind of fun, like revisiting it in smaller chunks, kind of doing chapters in between some other things or like, it's been an interesting process. I don't hate it so far.
I'm enjoying it.
I thought I was going to really resist this, but it actually turns out I kind of like it. Cool. It's nice to have an ongoing thing in the midst of
all your other projects. Things. Yeah.
So that is available over on our Patreon if you are a dear listener. And if you are not one to enjoy serials, if you are a dear listener, subscriber at any point while we are releasing episodes of Only Skin Deep, you will get it as an audiobook in BookFunnel at the end of the process.
Yes. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. So what are we talking about this week?
So this week I thought we would talk about, I guess to phrase it, like our inspirations, because I was musing about it last night. Me and Alex were talking about some of my characters and stuff. He's like, where do you get your inspiration for this and this? And we were talking and I was like, I wonder where Kirt gets his inspiration when you are crafting voices for characters. Like what do you use as like a template, or like if you're reading, how are you inspired to make a character sound the way that they do? Right. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain about that.
Sure. And you've written here that I'm curious about how you get ideas for your characters in your books.
Yeah, you are curious about that.
Curious about that.
So weird.
It'll be a fun thing to talk about. Since I'm so curious about it.
Yeah, it's right there, Kirt.
I know. Yeah. It's letter B on the outline. Boy, I'm in a mood. So, where does my inspiration come from? Nowhere. I'm uninspired.
Really? You are in a mood.
It's just, I mean, it's difficult to say because as we've talked about, I go through so many of these in a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm voicing everybody in the book. Sometimes I'm only voicing one point of view.
Right.
So sometimes you have to share that process with someone else. And a lot of times they're just like, you just kind of have to go with your gut.
Yeah.
So it is, you read something on the page, however you imagine that person on your first impression, you have to go with it.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a lot of time to sit and think. And I know some people really enjoy like casting books in their head. Like they'll take actors or people they know and be like, this is that person. And it's a mimic. They try to mimic that person.
Yeah.
I'm not successful in that. I just kind of read the character and however their voice sounds in my head is what I do. And also, they all sound like me to a degree.
Yeah, I think they kind of have to, right? Yeah.
So it's also sort of approaching every character like if I was in a play, if I was cast in a play to play this character, how would I play them?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So there's that common thread of like, in some way, shape, or form, they're all going to sound and they're all going to be informed by me and my experience.
Yeah.
Even though the characters are very different, like if I was cast in a play as like the burly alpha lumberjack guy, I would approach playing that character differently than I would if I was cast to be like the Twinkie little guy that gets thrown around by the lumberjack guy.
Yeah.
You can just sort of put yourself in a different headspace for each one.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been surprised just by like how much just that different headspace changes the character and how it sounds.
Okay.
So to a certain degree, I am uninspired because there's no time for inspiration. You can't sit around waiting to be inspired.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to go with what comes to you in the moment.
Okay.
And of course, all of that's informed by what the author has described,
right?
Sometimes physically or vocally about the character. And I will take that on to a degree, but not so much that I feel like I'm hurting myself.
Yeah.
Again, it's all my voice. I can only do so much, and I'm not, if their voice is described as like 1,000 demons from hell.
How can you do? What can you do?
Right. I'm not going to try to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to do what you can with the instrument you have.
Right.
Frankly, there just isn't time to like do sound effects or anything like that. So
yeah, that would be a lot.
That is not economically sound,
right?
To try to be a narrator and to do a bunch of sound effects.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have do you ever pull in for inspiration from like actors or roles or like your favorite movies or anything like that? Like,
again, that doesn't really work for me. Although I do know a lot of narrators that is
like how they work.
That is how they do it.
Okay.
Like they cast it in their head with like popular actors, and that's what helps them delineate characters. And I've tried, and it just
doesn't stick.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't stick.
Yeah.
I end up defaulting to how I would play the character.
Yeah.
And
makes sense.
And even like if I write it down and I'm like, oh, this person is this person, because I've tried that, and I used to have a whole form that I would have authors fill out and be like, tell me about the character and tell me who would play them, and what kind of like what animal would represent them, and a whole bunch of things.
Okay.
That really just kind of all went out the door once I was in the booth and just like being the character.
Yeah.
Plus, I think the thing about narration, and I don't think I'm talking out of school here, is just that a lot of character development has nothing to do with how the characters are represented. How do I say this? I think the characters are not as different as sometimes people think, because situationally you can make people sound different in a conversation based on a lot of other things than just their voice.
Okay.
So if one person in the argument, or if two people are having an argument in a scene, one person is often mad and the other person is often being confronted.
Right.
And so how they talk changes.
That makes sense.
Based on the situation.
Yeah.
And so you, the listener, are hearing the scene and it's very clear to you who is talking, but it might have nothing to do with like the qualities of the character's voice. It's just that one person's mad and the other person is feeling attacked.
Yeah.
And so you can tell them apart.
Yeah.
But if you were to take, the voice that I'm doing for character X from chapter 3 and compare it to the voice that I'm doing for character X in chapter 11 in a totally different situation, they may not sound alike.
Yeah.
Like you might not listen to both of those samples and be like, yeah, that's for sure the same person.
Right.
Because they're in totally different situations. They're going to sound different. So the key really is making characters sound different in the moment. Not even sound different. Characters to be discernible.
Okay.
In the moment, in the book, at the point at which you are listening. And it has less to do with like creating like a super consistent character throughout the whole book.
Makes sense.
And yet somehow people still have the illusion that you've created this super consistent character because that's the part that they bring to the book. They bring their own interpretation and understanding of the situation and the characters and the characteristics so that it's clear in their head.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately all that mattered. But yeah, I have often said to people, please don't ever go into a book and take a tiny sample from one part of a book for a character and a tiny sample from another part of a book of a character and put them together and be like, wow, that's really not consistent. It's like, no, it probably won't be.
Yeah, probably not. Well, because I imagine that's true for all humans. Like, I'm not going to sound the same if I'm completely mad or if I'm having the best time in my life. Like, the voice will be the same, but if you compare the two, I probably sound like totally different people in the heat of the moment. So, of course.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that's aside from all like the, accents and stuff like that, which are very discernible, but really should only be used if it makes sense in this story.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the other tricks about keeping characters discernible have nothing to do with the character and more to do with what is the character going through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've reached a point that I don't worry that much about making super specific choices for characters. It's more about like, how would I play them? And if that's similar because the characters are similar.
Yeah. Okay.
How else can I make them clear in this scene? How else can it be clear who is talking?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So,
you probably don't because you have so many books that you go through, but have you ever run across something where like somebody just immediately, like you knew who they were the moment like you read a description, or do you have characters that you tend to understand faster than others? Like
I think is related to what I just said, because once I embraced just playing the character like I would play myself.
Yeah.
I trusted myself enough that happens now very often.
Nice. Okay.
The other time it happened very easily was when I did Wolf Song.
Yeah.
When I didn't know a goddamn thing. I had zero expectations.
Yeah.
And I was working entirely off of instinct.
Yeah.
And all of those characters just came to me very easily.
That's awesome. Okay.
And they stuck with me through the whole series. I never had a problem remembering like who was who and what was what. It was moving forward in other series, and TJ Klune is an excellent writer, and I don't want to take that away from him.
Right.
But I often attributed that to him only. Like, oh, it's just that TJ is such a good writer that I've always had these characters so consistent in my own head. Looking back on it, I think a lot of it was just that I had no choice but to trust my own instincts.
Yeah.
And then I stopped doing that because it was like, oh, now I should learn how to do this properly.
Right.
Learn from other people and take on all their ideas of what works and casting and animals and all of that.
Wow.
And so I had to work back to the point where I was like, no, just trust your instincts. And when you do that, it's much easier to remember who this person is.
Yeah.
And worry a lot less about what they sound like.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
picking up what you're laying down.
Yes. Now I often just get a gut feeling and be like, that's who this character is. And I go with it.
Yeah.
And I did that at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But there was a while in the middle there where I didn't.
Yeah.
And it was harder.
Makes sense.
Because when you're not going off your instincts, you have to remember a lot more.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
So.
Well, and I think that's true with everybody's learning process. Like because you hear all this advice funnel through from people that you love and respect. And they're like, oh, I only write if I, have sticky notes of every single scene on a whiteboard. And that's how I'm able to craft amazing stories. And you're like, oh, well, I have to do that because now I want to write that way.
Right.
And you do that and you're like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Or like it's stilted or weird. So I think we all have to go through that process of like, I don't actually need to know this. I mean, I wish I could be like, I was right the first time, but that's not my journey.
Right.
But yeah, I think trusting your instincts is a great takeaway from that. I think we tend to not believe in ourselves enough to recognize when we're doing well or when we actually have nailed something. It's like, I can't nail it on the first go. I'm a fraud, you know? But sometimes you know how it works. And you just have to allow yourself to get there. So,
and that's not to say that there's not ways to learn new techniques or to improve your techniques.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A lot of, I think, good art comes out of just taking what's already inside of you and putting it out there.
Yeah.
And that means that you can't you're not really ever going to successfully copy someone else's process.
Right. Yeah.
You can try a lot of different things to discover what works for you, but it will probably be an amalgamation of other people's techniques.
Yeah.
Rather than finding one that works for you.
Yeah.
So
I believe that.
Yeah.
Do you still get stuck now that you are used to kind of like trusting yourself? Do you still run into walls where you're reading a character and you're like, I just don't know how to make this person sound right, or like I'm not jiving with them, and like if that happens, do you have ways of kind of figuring out how to navigate through that?
I think now, this is going to sound terrible. I think I don't care enough anymore.
Okay.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think I used to care too much.
Yeah.
About that thing about like every single voice has to sound different.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, man, by the time you get to 50, 60 titles and you're still trying to make every single character you do sound different,
it can't happen, right?
You just have to retire.
Yeah.
So I'm much more comfortable now with saying, I don't really know who this person is. Like the author hasn't given me much about them.
Yeah.
You know, it's somebody's mom who calls one time in the whole book.
Yeah.
You know, or it's their boss, you know, like, and we don't learn much about them except that they yell. Guess what? That person's going to sound a lot like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or generic lady voice.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Keeping it in.
That was my generic lady voice.
That was not a toad. That came out of Maz's body. But yeah, so I think I'm much more comfortable now with being like, this is a pretty nondescript character and I don't know what to do with them. Great. Yeah. Moving forward with a nondescript voice.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet the listeners have not noticed a darn thing.
Like, probably not.
Not a difference at all, because I don't think it mattered when I put a lot of time and effort into thinking about tiny, minor side characters.
Yeah, it seems like you're kind of unnecessarily burning at both ends, like when you're trying to craft a whole backstory for Lady on the Phone. Right, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Give me a break.
And it all goes back to the conceit of what an audiobook is most of the time, which is it's one person telling you a story.
Yeah. And
I'm not trying to trick people into thinking it's a multicast. So
yeah,
they get that it's just me doing a silly little voice.
Right.
So yeah, I shouldn't think about it so much. But again, that is a process. It took years.
Yeah.
To get to the point where I was comfortable doing that. So yeah.
Cool.
So how about you as an author? Like, what inspires your characters?
So I think most of my favorite characters are people who I've stolen personality traits from that are real life people. And I got, I think, my best ideas from when I used to work retail, and I would see different people all the time. Or like when I used to do 911, I would talk to people all the time. Now that I'm isolated, I feel like I don't have as many interesting characteristics I can pull from, because people are the best source of creativity, because everyone's different and has those weird quirks or those things that are charming or those things that are really fucking annoying that you can just be like, that's a great villain trait. Like, I had a coworker, nicest guy in the world. I really liked him. He always ate apples every single lunch very loudly right next to me every day, like clockwork. And
why right next to you?
Because his cube was right there, and he never went to the damn cafeteria. He always just ate at his desk, but he never took lunch at the right time. He always took it at like 3:30 in the afternoon when I'm like trying to finish my stuff so I can go home, and he's just munching on apples. And I was like, I hate you. So I actually wrote a character who ate apples so I could kill him. Like, nice. You know what I mean? Like just those like little things that I could like weave in that I think give a character a little bit more of a well-rounded nuance. Right. But
can you hold for just a second so I can add to my grocery list?
Some apples?
Apples for the office. Great.
So
okay.
3:30 stand over.
Yeah, add to calendar. 3:30.
Apple crunching time.
Yeah, apple crunching time. Yeah, exactly.
So exactly. I kind of miss that. And like I had, coworkers and stuff that I loved so much that I pieced like some of my favorite people I ever worked with, that's how Dalton was born. Like people who I worked, 5 days of the week with these people, and their tiny little personality traits became these characters that I just was able to mold.
Yeah.
So I think the real life people are the ones I get the best inspiration from. And I've also stated multiple times that my funniest lines come from Alex. I just steal his material. So like if he ever leaves, I'm immediately going to stop being funny. So
you'll enter your serious era.
Yeah.
Your angsty sad boy era.
Exactly. Sad boy era. Yes.
Yeah. Well, in the absence of like real humans to hang out with, do you find inspiration from media?
Yeah, I tend to gravitate more towards like action movies and not comedies per se, but things with funnier plots and things like that. So, I mean, Deadpool is a huge inspiration for like Dallas and stuff, just that crazy, chaotic nuttiness. I love cartoons and shit, like Adventure Time. A lot of the characters and like their personality traits will come through in some of the side characters that I write. So I think a lot of the media that I consume gets digested, and then I birth random character traits out of those. Just things that I gravitate towards as far as like the really, I think the serious or the really crazy, chaotic, silly characters that actually do have a lot of depth to them, or that actually are really grounded. I think that's why I like Marco so much, and like the Animorphs. Like he's such a little shit, but really, when the time comes, he comes through in the clutch, or like he's got such depth. Like he cares about his dad so much, even though he's such a fucking goofball all the time, and is like trying to get the babes, but really he's worried about his dad all the time. So like those are the characters that I'm like I love so much that I want to try to do them justice and try to recreate in my weird little silly universes.
Well, so you mentioned Dalton and Dallas having very specific inspirations. Are there any other characters that like you can trace their origin story? Yeah,
I know Royal is definitely modeled after a regular customer when I used to work retail. He was this cool, nerdy dude that would come in, and he was just this delight. His name was Leon. And every time he showed up, I loved him. He was just this funny, nerdy, kind of heavier set dude who would just hang out at the store and just like, he was just chill, and he really liked fighting games. And he would come to like all of our midnight releases, even if he wasn't like picking up the game to like hang out with us and stuff. And like Royal's personality was definitely that. Like this guy was just always so chill, and he would show up in the loudest anime shirts. Like he loved like the waifus and stuff, and he was just this big teddy bear guy, and I loved him. So the idea of him, fighting bad guys and like just rolling around with all these badasses and stuff, I wanted that in the world so much.
Right.
So yeah,
does he know he's a dinosaur shifter now?
I haven't talked to Leon in years. He used to be on my PSN, like I could see him log on and stuff, but I haven't spoken to him so long that I think it'd be weird if I was like, hi, remember this random chick from this game store from like 11 years ago? He'd be like, who the fuck are you? But yeah, I don't think Leon realized how much I enjoyed his company when he would come in. But yeah, Royal is definitely Leon in parts.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's see what the internet can do. Yeah. Find Leon, guys.
Leave Leon alone. He's a gentleman and a scholar, and he doesn't need to be bothered.
Let him know about the podcast.
He's going to be like, okay, cool.
What about, do you ever get stuck?
I got really stuck with Henry when I was writing Montana's story. He was
very boring.
Wow. Dagger in the heart. How dare you?
God, I am in a mood.
You are sassy today.
Also, JK.
I know.
I'm just being a dick. But for my own entertainment.
He was super boring. Just kidding. Not really. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember him actually.
Yeah, I was about to say, I doubt you remember. But no, I was really stuck on him because I just didn't know who he was. He was a dinosaur that just woke up. He was still learning how to be a person.
Oh, baby Henry.
Yeah, baby Henry. Yeah. So I was like, how do I make this guy a romanceable character?
You made him a puppy. I don't know if you intended to, but you made him a puppy.
I made him a puppy. I remember I was talking to Alex, and like Alex is a lot of times my sounding board for this kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know how to make this guy romanceable for this heartbroken widow. Like, why did I do this? I don't know this guy. So it took me a long time to figure out that, yeah, he was just a puppy. He just wanted to be happy and make everybody else happy. And so it worked. But yeah, for a while, I was writing these short stories of just him navigating the world. And they weren't for anyone. They were just for me. So it's him like going to the grocery store and trying to unpack what everything means. And the common thread was that he was always trying to make sure that everybody else around him was like getting what they needed, even though he had no idea what the hell was going on and stuff. So maybe one day I'll release them out because I think it'd be fun. But yeah, I had to like take this guy out on dates a couple times to like figure out what his voice was. And that really helped. But yeah.
That's interesting.
It's
a lot of work writing a book, isn't it?
It is. It sucked. I was like, I'm never going to do this again. Like, I'm not going to do another amnesia character or anything because that shit sucked. But yeah, that was the one that was the hardest one to figure out was Henry. Fun fact.
Fascinating. Well, if you're listening and you're like, wait, I have a follow-up question, the way to ask us that question is in our Patreon group, or you can tag us on social media. Yeah. We're happy to answer questions in either way.
For sure.
If we did not touch on something about creating characters, either as an author or as a narrator, that you want to know about.
Yeah. So. I'm sure people have some cool questions, so I need them to pick our brains. It's fun.
Yeah. I guess I have to wait around and see which character is inspired by me, since I am now your only source of real inspiration.
Yeah.
I'm your only coworker.
Yeah. It's gonna eventually happen. I'm gonna come up with somebody who's
I'm gonna be reading it and be like, wait a minute.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Oh wait, am I the fussy British guy?
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe. The grumpy, fussy British guy.
I love Barnaby, though.
I do too.
He's so great.
He's great fun. All right, so this week we're playing another game.
Okay.
Because we are sans interviews for a little while because they're too much work.
Yes.
Speaking of being busy for the summer.
Yeah.
Would love to talk to more authors, just not right now. So this time I'm cheating and I'm using a game that I picked up on our last trip to the Madison area. For those who are watching the YouTube, it's called 10 Clues, and I am holding it up right now if you want to search for it. So basically, it is exactly what it says. It is 10 clues about a person, a place, or a thing.
Okay.
And we have each selected cards for the other person, and we're going to do 3 each.
Okay.
And you earn points by guessing quickly.
Okay.
So, for example, if I were to give you clue number 1 and you guess it right away, that's 10 points.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because you got it right away. So it's basically the inverse of the number of the question.
Okay, cool.
And obviously the clues become more obvious as you go down the list.
Right.
And so we're going to take turns. And the rule is you have to guess after each clue. You can't be like, I don't know, give me the next clue. You have to make some sort of guess.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
But,
just, yeah.
We're not going to wait around. There's going to be, let's say, like a 30-second time limit max. Otherwise, just like go with your gut. So name this place.
Okay.
All right. I have letters after my name.
Oh, okay. Japan.
Clue number 2. I am named after a president.
Washington?
Say more.
State? Washington, D.C.?
Washington, D.C.
Hey!
I have letters after my name was.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, well, I was like, letters after the name could. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm picking it up.
There we go. All right. So you got 9 points.
Hey!
Damn. I don't know that I like that.
That'll be the only one I get because I'm shit with pop culture and actors and stuff. So this is going to be fun. Okay. I was born in 1956.
Jesus Christ.
I know. That's so broad. It's not fair.
So it's a person?
Yes, it is a person.
1956. Who's about my parents' age?
Me too.
Judi Dench.
No.
She's older.
I like to make a splash.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you. 80s movie reference. All right. So I also get 9 points.
All right.
Nice.
Suddenly tied.
Name this thing.
Thing. Okay.
Right. I can be white, gray, or black.
Gray or black? A shirt?
No. Days without me are nice.
A cloud?
Yes. 9 points for Maz. All right. I'm not loving how this is going. It's also going very quickly for a segment that's supposed to stretch out the length of the episode.
Shit.
Talk more slowly.
Okay.
No, just kidding.
We'll go back to the bit. Yeah.
We've already done that bit.
Comes all the way back around. Right. Okay. Name this movie.
Movie. Okay.
I began as a book. Yeah, I know.
Silence of the Lambs.
Mm-mm. Written by Suzanne Collins.
Oh. What is a Suzanne Collins? Something of the Vanities. Oh fuck, what is it called? I don't know. What is this?
The first in a trilogy.
First in a trilogy. Oh, Suzanne. Wait. I'm thinking of a different Suzanne. The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
8 points.
I was like, the third clue was going to give it away.
What was the third clue?
Katniss Everdeen is the main character.
Oh, yeah. I would have known that.
Yeah.
Suzanne Collins. What other Suzanne was I thinking of? Or what? Oh, I think I was thinking of a Joan Collins.
Maybe. I'm not
Bonfire of the Vanities. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Thinking of a much older book. All right. Name this person.
Okay.
I loved elegant clothes.
Oh my God. I wish I was better with names. Oh crap. How come I can't remember anyone's name? Loved elegant clothes. Loved.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably dead, I would imagine. If I can't remember somebody's name, can I Google it? Is that cheating? Okay. An old actress that I can visualize.
Sure.
And I don't know her name.
Great. Number 2.
Yeah.
I wrote lots of notes.
Lots of notes.
Mm-hmm. Wrote lots of notes.
I don't know.
Say any name.
I don't Judy Garland?
No. Number 3 is a question for some reason. It's, was I hyperactive?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hyperactive. Oh, Shirley Temple? I have no idea.
Nope. My sister's nickname was Nanurl.
Nanurl.
Yeah.
What a name. Jesus.
See, this is what I thought more of these cards would be like.
Right?
That we wouldn't have any idea.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Clue number 5.
Mm-hmm.
I arranged Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
I don't know if I know who this person is.
You do.
I do?
Mm-hmm. Everyone knows who this person is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Nodes Nanurl?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What's the next one?
Number 6. I died halfway through writing an opera.
Halfway through writing an opera. No idea.
Number 7. My works are numbered with K.
I have no clue who this is so far.
Number 8. I wrote A Little Night Music.
No idea.
Number 9. The movie Amadeus is about me.
I don't know who that is. I've never seen Amadeus.
You don't know any famous Amadeuses off the top of your head?
No. Wait.
I feel like it's right there.
Yeah, is it Bach? No, that's close.
You're on the right track now. I want to give you time to do this.
I know. I don't. Fucking. It's not Beethoven.
Nope.
Mozart.
Yes.
There it is.
Amadeus Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Okay. Great.
Yes.
I didn't know he did Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. He does like fancy clothes though.
And he wrote a lot of notes, like music notes.
Oh, yeah. That's sneaky.
They were being sneaky with that one.
Narnurl. I want to know more about that.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's research it and come back to it next week.
I love it. Okay.
Narnurl. Yeah.
Okay. So
all right,
for
so you took a hit on that one. That was only 2
yeah,
points.
that was rough.
Let's see about my number 3.
Okay. Name this person. I was a pilot.
Was.
Mm-hmm.
Dead. Amelia Earhart.
No. And perhaps a spy.
What? Can I name any other pilots?
Yeah, right? This is not fair because I was like, I read this and I was like, I wouldn't know what this is.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm glad our third ones suck.
They're hard.
Do I know any other pilots? Sully Sullenberger. I don't think he was a spy, but I needed to come up with something.
No. I fought in World War II. This one's hard.
Sure. Is it like the Red Baron or something like that?
Mm-mm. Okay. Then I started writing.
What?
Yeah.
Then I started writing. What?
Yeah, this one's hard, dude.
Okay. Then I started writing. Fitzgerald? Okay.
I wrote in my garden shed.
World War II. Garden shed. I genuinely have no idea.
I would have been surprised if you just were like this person based on that. I wrote children's books.
Oh. Children's books. Beatrice Potter. Mm-hmm. I was trying to go against my own biases there, that it had to be a man. Continue.
I like the Twits. Wait, like the Twits. I wrote children's books like the Twits.
The Twits.
The Twits.
Oh, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah. And Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I feel like I should know that, but I don't. I do not know this author's name.
Okay. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Wait, this is Roald Dahl?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a lot, right? Like, I was a pilot and then a spy and then fought in World War II. I didn't know that about that man.
What's the Twits?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess one of his books.
On.
Yeah, this one was hard. I was like, this feels unfair.
Which one did I finally get it on?
9.
9. All right, so 2 points for me as well, which means you win.
That should...
Because you went 992 and I went 982. So, hey.
That doesn't... like that last one was just brutal for both
of us, yeah. So it turns out that 9-8 match in the middle, it mattered.
Hey.
So there you go. Well,
you know what makes this fun is that you know that there's somebody listening to this who's just screaming the answer for both. Like my last one, they're like, "Are you insane?" Nanurl. Everyone knows that.
I would be surprised if a lot of people knew about Nanurl. I would love, but we're gonna, you know what? We are gonna follow up on that.
Yeah,
we're gonna do some research on Nanurl and see what the hell that was about. I just made a weird mouth noise. God damn it. I don't even know how that happened. I guess I'm leaving it in. Oh well.
Yeah, if you leave in my toad noise,
then we have to leave in my strange middle of the word mouth burp. What was? I still don't know. Like, I don't know how that happened. I choked for a nanosecond. That was weird. Anyways,
this is a good episode.
If you're loving this and you're not already a subscriber at our Patreon, This is what you're missing out on. It's more of this, I guess. No, this is what you're really missing out on, which is that on Tuesday, the 4th episode of Only Skin Deep will be available to our dear listeners. On Wednesday, our recap of the 3rd Megamorphs book will be available to all paid subscribers. Actually, I think that came out this last week. I don't know. I get confused.
I think when this one airs...
it'll be book 30 coming out the following Wednesday.
Yes.
We just released the Megamorphs.
Yes.
By the previous Wednesday when this comes out on Friday.
Yeah.
Time is weird. You're going to be dropping that new Relic short today.
Yes,
if you're listening on Friday.
Right.
As well as your weekly work in progress chapters from Wild Contracts 2. Those have been very popular. And we have more exciting things planned, but we can't do them, even though we desperately want to, until we reach our goals with more subscribers. So make sure you are letting people know about the Patreon. Sign more people up, and we will be doing more cool things.
Yeah.
So otherwise, we will be back on the pod next week.
We'll see you then.
Bye.